He's been an award-winning media personality and producer. As a speaker, he's empowered over 1 million people from the stage. Now one of the leading business coaches and brand experts is taking over the world of on-demand audio. It's the Business Bully Podcast. Now here's the business bully himself, Dave Anderson.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to be here. Hope all is well in your world. I am the Mohawking, real talking, living fully business bully, snapping next to cash checks. Woo! Dave Anderson, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. If you have not gone to iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or TuneIn or Overcast or wherever you listen to the show, Spreaker, wherever you listen to the show, and left a review, I'm begging you, leave a review. Your reviews give me life. I read all 5-star reviews on the air, and they actually help boost the ratings and the value of the show. So they mean so much to me. It's the only thing I ever ask of you when it comes to supporting me. Outside of just, if you want to get in contact with me, stuff like that. But this is a real big thing for me. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you the Business Bully Podcast is being brought to you by Audible. If you go right now to audibletrial.com/bully, you can choose from over 180,000 titles, including my homeboy Gary V's Crushing It is up right now on Audible. You can get that for free on your boy Dave Anderson, the Business Bully. audibletrial.com/bully. Get that popping. Yes, love that. So now let's get into brass tacks, people. We got to talk. All right. So on Thursday, whatever Thursday's date was, I think it was the 12th, maybe April 12th. There was a Starbucks in Philadelphia at 18th and Spruce, which is downtown. And what wound up happening was there were two gentlemen who were realtors. They happened to be African-American, and they were waiting for a third colleague, a real estate developer, to have a business meeting. Now, I've had countless business meetings at Starbucks all over the world, and never, ever, did I ever stop to think about, well, maybe I should buy something first or X, Y, and Z? I just meet there and it's not a big deal. It's kind of known as a meeting place. And so I'm not going to say I was shocked because I've heard from other people, definitely fans of the show, have told me that they've had incidents with Starbucks and racism in South Carolina. They've had it in California. I've heard about it in Tennessee and in Texas. And so it's not an isolated incident, but don't let me get too far ahead of this situation. And so what winds up happening is, one of these young brothers asked for the code to the bathroom. He gets the code, tries to get the code, I should say, and the manager says, well, you can't have the code because you didn't buy anything. And he's like, well, that don't make no sense. And so it becomes this whole big thing. It's like, y'all got to get out. Talking about these two brothers. Now, what you don't know is that there was a white woman who came in and she immediately got the code to the bathroom and she didn't buy a damn thing. You also don't know that there were plenty of patrons there who had not bought a damn thing but was chilling in Starbucks. I have chilled in Starbucks just to get away on a Saturday morning because I wanted to do some typing, working on writing a book or whatever the case may be. And I have been not worried about buying something. Like, that's not a thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I normally do buy something, but it's not a thing where as though, oh my gosh, if I don't buy something, I'm worried about getting kicked out. That's like not even in my purview. And so what tends to happen is when you have these policies, and I want to break down a lot of these myths and dumb rebuttals I'm hearing from people who are so concerned about Starbucks and a bunch of coons and house Negroes who seem to think it is okay for mistreatment of black people anywhere. First and foremost, if it's a policy, it shouldn't be a discretionary policy. And there's a difference between discretion and discrimination. Allow me to explain. See, discretion is when you know that there's somebody who's coming in and they've got pock marks all on their arms from shooting up and they want to use your bathroom at the Starbucks. Yeah, not gonna happen, partner. No shirt, no shoes, no service, that kind of thing. No crackheads, no base heads, none of that. That makes sense, especially when you're in a densely populated area. Now, what doesn't make sense is if you're in a situation where someone is black, and because black male skin in America is weaponized, meaning people are automatically trained and conditioned to be scared of black men, which is one of the biggest problems I had in corporate America. People were scared of me. Not only am I a black man, but I'm a very large black man. Not only am I a very large black man, but I'm a very large black man who's educated. Not am I only a large, educated black man, I'm also a large, educated black man with a mohawk and an opinion. So you can imagine how many times I've been told that I'm intimidating somebody or I'm threatening somebody, and nothing could be further from the truth. I don't get down like that. I'm not Suge Knight. There's never been a report of me hanging somebody over a balcony by their ankles or something. But, you know, that's the mythos of black men in America, that we're all the boogeyman and we're all going to hurt people and all this old nonsensical bullshit that's just not true. And so what winds up happening is these brothers wind up being in a situation where no one is respecting them who works at the Starbucks. So it comes down to this one lady who's the manager and these two gentlemen who were literally waiting for somebody. So what does she do? She calls the cops, says, oh, you know, there's these black men here and they won't leave and they're trespassing. I would love to know how you trespass in a coffee shop, but okay. So they're trespassing. And so not one, not two, not three, not four, but 6 officers show up in order to assess and diffuse the situation. And what winds up happening is these men get the perp walk all the way through Starbucks and are arrested and detained for at least 8 hours. That is ridiculous. No weapons were drawn from these two men. No one incited any violence from these two men. These men never once raised their voices. So what you have basically is a discriminatory practice on behalf of Starbucks. You also have, an unnecessary and ridiculous arrest, a waste of my taxpayer dollars as a Philadelphian. And you also have the continuation of the mythos of black men are the boogeymen. Now, while all this was going on, there was a couple of people who happened to be white who were videotaping this and putting it on social media. And I am thankful that these white folks were taping this and saying, hey, you know, why are you doing this? Talking to the cops, because I don't know if you know this or not, but black people are not allowed to question the cops. 9 times out of 10, if you question the cops, you're going to wind up getting arrested or worse. And I know that may be hard for some people to swallow, but I'm telling you this as someone who's lived in America for over 40 years. I'm telling you anyway and anyhow, what winds up happening is, you know, those folks use their privilege to ask the police officers what they had done. And they were sitting there saying, hey, you know, these guys didn't do anything. I don't understand what the problem is. And yet and still, that didn't stop them from arresting these brothers and violating their civil rights and arresting them and treating them like criminals. Now, in my life, from the time I was 13 up until very recently, I have been pulled over and stopped and detained and held by police officers in Philadelphia, in Tennessee, in Texas, in Florida, in Georgia, just because I fit the description, or because I was doing 36 and a 35, or because I was driving a car that they deemed too fancy, or I went into the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time of night, or I was at a radio station and they said that I was violating a noise ordinance. How do you violate a noise ordinance at a radio station? But okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is not any quarter for black men who are assertive, who are strong, who are positive, who are doing everything. Now, the other thing I want to say is that there are people talking about, oh, well, if these brothers were dressed a certain way, if these brothers had on suits, then there wouldn't be an issue. And to that I say bullshit, because there's been plenty of people who've been arrested in suits. I've been detained in a suit before. That don't mean a damn thing. There have been plenty of people from the civil rights movement, the Jim Crow era, Reconstruction, the Great Depression, have been lynched, hung, and damaged in suits. So again, I call bullshit to that. I also call bullshit to the whole, well, they could have just complied and leave. Like, why would they have to leave? Because there were other people who did the same thing and they were not asked to leave. So why are you singling these two men out? And the only reason you single these two men out is because they were black. Now, I wish I could just be the motivational, you know, business guy who could not talk about race. But when a business decides to use its privilege as a corporate giant and use the dollars that people have funneled into them in order to flex their muscles, I've got a problem. Now, in all fairness to Starbucks does have a black chief operating officer, which I think is fine. I don't know the lady from a hole in my ass. I will say this, though. She's still an employee. She's not an owner. So she doesn't have the bottom line, and she doesn't call the shots. And on top of that, last I checked, the Supreme Court has a black man as a Supreme Court justice. His name is Clarence Thomas, and that hasn't done anything for black people either. So I'm not really impressed by that. Other people will say, well, the CEO apologized. And I'm like, yeah, his apology is what he had to do. You got to go on an apology tour when it's on the evening news, the New York Post, the Washington Post, the Daily News, the New York Times, CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, UPN, Warner Brothers. It's on the WB. I'm being an asshole, but you get my point. Like, when it's that bad, it's going to be everywhere. It's not an isolated incident either. So I'm sick of people talking about how it's an isolated incident. There was another incident that I just saw on Facebook that took place on Saturday when this woman was saying, well, this is you need to get off my property, this, that, and the third. And it wasn't even her Starbucks. But she would let a white man go and use the bathroom, but wouldn't let a black man go use the bathroom. And the white man hadn't ordered anything yet either. So that tells me that there's a culture happening that needs to be addressed. And the only thing bigots and assholes understand there's only two things: the loss of life and the loss of money. And because we're not going to run around here killing people, we're not going to go full killmonger on people. The easiest thing to do is to shut them down. The easiest thing to do is to protest with your dollars. And today, and this is Monday the 16th when I'm recording this, Starbucks was shut down around 1 o'clock today. At 18th and Spruce. They closed it down because a bunch of peaceful protesters went in there and sat in. And I'm so sick of this generation that feels like all they have to do is put up a hashtag and sing and march. No. You got to start hitting people in the pockets. Let's talk business. You want something done right? You cut a check. When I got a problem in the city, I call the city council people that I've cut checks to. You want to know why? Because I cut a check. And that's what makes money happen. That's what makes moves go. But we don't do that. We talk a good game and we get upset and we don't really take the time to really talk about what we can do and why we should do it. We need to start doing more of that. And we gotta be okay. We gotta be okay with people not being happy with us. But all this, I don't understand and I can't believe it and there has to be more to the story and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, because you believe we live in some post-racial, magical society, doesn't move me. Because while I would love to live in this bubble where everybody is equal and everybody is treated fairly, because that's how I treat people, unfortunately, that's not how it goes. And it's a sin and a shame. And it shouldn't be a thing that holds you back, but it should be something that holds you accountable and holds you to a place where you say, okay, I got to watch how I move and I got to think about, how I'm moving and what I'm doing at all times. And that is to me, that is primarily, the big bottom line, the thing that I want people to take away, but this to me is something that really needs to be addressed, and I think that people need to understand that it's not just a situation where you can do nothing, and I'm really sick of these sunken place cornballs thinking that it's okay to just, let everything live as it lies and treat people unfairly and think that that's going to fly. It's not cool. And it's not just an isolated incident. It's not just something that needs to happen. And people are hitting me with this. Oh, well, do you think the whole business has suffered because of a few bad apples? Abso-fucking-lutely. You want to know why? Because whenever a black business does something, black people will say, oh, I can't stand that black-owned business, and throw all black businesses under the bus. Like I've had people comment on my Facebook. Go look at my Facebook. They're like, facebook.com/business bully. They're like, oh, well, I love supporting black businesses, but, these things keep happening in black businesses and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, literally, you just blanketed all black businesses with that statement, but you'll take your raggedy ass to Walmart. There'll be 30 checkout aisles and you are having 3 lines open and they're backed up like a damn blockbuster movie. But you don't say nothing. You will go into the hood, go to Moi Fong's Chinese Takeout and give them your money and get your 4-wing shrimp fried rice, homemade lemonade, could you please add ice, poke a hole in my top, through a 6-inch bulletproof glass thing. I don't understand this logic. Whenever it comes to black people act like there's automatically some kind of subpar issue. There's automatically some kind of subpar, mystique or stigma that has to be associated with black-owned businesses. And to that I say, fuck that. That is ridiculous. It's corny and it's whack as hell. And if you subscribe to that, you're whack as hell as well. Let me tell you what else. I'm also tired of people acting like, it's just like racism is okay, and I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that nonsense, but if you want to see, what's really happening out here, you got to be aware, and you have to understand what's really going on, and that's what I see all of the time. It happens in Orlando. It happens in San Francisco. There's so many places that this stuff happens and we let it go unchecked and we act like it's okay. And I just wish people would have the same amount of forgiveness, the same amount of grace for black-owned businesses as they do for white-owned businesses when white-owned businesses, make egregious errors in judgment. I really do, because it's a sin and a shame. It makes absolutely no sense. And, I'm really fucking tired of having to explain to black folks why this is not cool. And all these folks are just, throwing on capes for Starbucks. Well, if all black people stop going to Starbucks, that will hurt Starbucks businesses. Bullshit. Starbucks will be just fine, but why would you want to spend your money there? Let me tell you something. About 12 years ago, Denny's was practicing discriminatory practices towards black people, not serving them on time, giving them cold or burnt food. There was a whole thing about it. Go Google Denny's and black people and see what you get. I have not stepped foot in a Denny's in over 12 years, and I won't ever again. That's just who I am. I was in the Nifty 50s one time when I was a radio personality in Philadelphia. Nifty 50s is kind of like a throwback 1950s malt shop. And this Nifty 50s burned to the ground sometime later. But before it did, I was in there with my family. And what wound up happening was some white people came in and got served before us, and then some other white people came in and got served before us, and we had been sitting there for a good 30 minutes. And I told my daughter at the time, I'm like, we out. You know what I'm saying? So me and the family, we rolled, and then he called me, because I told him, I said, listen, I'm a radio personality. You know what I'm saying? I do a lot of business in the city, and never, ever have I had an experience where I don't get served in the order in which I'm sat down. Like, that's not acceptable. And they're like, oh, we'll comp your meal, this, that, and the third. I didn't go back because I stand on my principles. So if you think that I give a fuck about a frappe, you out your damn mind. Frap, whatever it is, I don't know, but you out your damn mind. I will not. And so, let's see here. Brent says, I'm getting messages from the chat. Brent says, what is your solution and where has it worked, all things being equal? Well, my solution is supporting businesses. I'm a big believer in going where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And if people have disrespectful practices, then you hit them in the pockets and then you take your money and spend it where people who value your business. That is the solution. And all things are not equal. We live in a system of white supremacy. And unfortunately, that means that at times you're going to have situations where people are going to flex those muscles. And so that's just kind of what that is, Brent. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like with anything, you have to, and they always, because people say, well, what's your solution? My solution is the same thing I've always said. Build your own. There's a place called Uncle Bobby's in Philadelphia, which is owned by Professor Mark Lamont Hill, which is an absolutely awesome coffee house. There's a place called Amalgam Comics, where you can have coffee and sit back, or not have coffee and read comic books all damn day and use their Wi-Fi and enjoy yourself in a real comfortable environment. I don't believe in begging people to love me who don't want me there. That's fine. But if you don't want me there and you're saying that you're a public forum, you're going to pay through your nose because you're breaking the law and you're violating my civil rights. And you're telling me that you're going to not serve me or make up some bullshit ass rule that you don't consistently enforce. Yeah, no, I call bullshit on that. So that's my solution. Plain and simple. Build your own. Support people who actually want your business and respect your business and respect your dollar. Go where you're celebrated and where you're not tolerated. I think it's a very simple solution. solution. I hope that answers your question for you, buddy. But yeah, I'm not really here for the Babbage bullshit. I'm not really here for, the kumbaya shit. I don't want to give Starbucks a pass. No, I ain't getting no more damn lattes. I got a Keurig in my house. And if I want coffee that bad, I'll go to a place called Wawa. I'll go to Amalgam Comics. I will go to Uncle Bobby's, or I will go to goddamn Dunkin' Donuts. Coffee might not be as good, allegedly, but at least you're not going to get arrested for being black and male. I'll be damned. Like, I don't think unless you've been a black male in this country and you've been detained by the cops. I remember once I got detained by the cops. I was driving my Jeep. I was homeless at the time, but I didn't look homeless. I had, at this point, moved back to Philly. I was living in my brother's garage. So I got in a haircut and I was driving downtown. I forget where I was going, but apparently my registration had lapsed by 1 day. And so all of a sudden, 3 cop cars pull up, 2 officers come out of each car, and they all had their guns drawn on me. Like, is this your car? Why didn't you pull over right away? I was like, I'm in the middle of Broad Street. I pulled over to the side, and I was just trying to get through traffic. And they're like, well, we need your license, your registration, and don't move. And I'm like, okay, but you need my license. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, do I reach for my license and registration? Do I move? Do I not move? Like, what's the deal? Is this your car? Yeah, it's my car. Why wouldn't it be my car? Like, what do you think? So every big guy with a mohawk who got a brand new Jeep is stealing his Jeep? Like it kills me. Like, that's the shit that people don't see, and that's the shit that people don't understand. And, you can have this kumbaya, rainbows and butterflies, feeling about your life if you want to, and that's fine, and best of luck to you. But the reality is, these things exist. Racism exists. There's a little boy who missed his bus and was trying to walk the bus route to get to his school, and he went to knock on the door for directions, and the woman went and got her husband, and the husband had a damn shotgun and started trying to light him up with buckshot. Like, this is the shit that you don't understand. Another dude ran out of gas and was shot by the cops. Like, this is the stuff that you don't understand. You can't even fathom it. And you think that this stuff is just, some random isolated incidents. But after a while, I grew up, I can name, incidents of things that happened when I was a kid. And there's 3 or 4. To me now at 40, it's 3 or 4 of these a week. And it's blatant. It's not just, okay, there was a misunderstanding. This person really did break the law. There was a homeless man in Brooklyn yesterday who was hungry, who stole from a convenience store because he wanted something to eat, and the convenience store workers choked him out and killed him over food. Last I checked, shoplifting was not an executionable offense on the spot. If that's the case, why don't we just dig up Sylvester Stallone, put him in a helmet and a flying motorcycle, and make him be Judge Dredd again? Stop and prepare to be judged. I am the law. Like, people just take the law into their own hands, and because they're white, they're not being charged. Nobody's being charged with anything. It's just like, oh, well, he was just some homeless black dude. Yeah, you killed him, but that's okay. And I'm sorry, but that's fucked up. And I got a problem with black people who think that it's okay, and you can do whatever you want to, but just know that there's a level of respect I don't have for you. And if you're okay with that, cool. You don't need my respect. But I will tell you, as a black man, I got a problem with someone who's going to put a latte over a life. Because if any black person was in that position, if you were in that position and that happened to you, you wouldn't want your people to say, oh, well, I'm not going to boycott Starbucks. I'm just going to go in there and get me a latte. I like the Frappuccino. What are you, Beavis? I am Cornholio. I need tippy for my bunghole. I need Crappuccino. Oh, Starbucks Crappuccino. Yeah, let me get a frap with a double shot of racism. No, I'm good, man. I'm absolutely good on that. So you have to do better than what you're currently doing, and think about what you're doing and how it's affecting people and how it's affecting us as a whole. And you got to be smart about your business, and you got to be smart about what it is that you want to do with your life. And that's just how I feel about it. So you don't have to like it. You don't have to hate it. But, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And at the end of the day, I want to say exactly what I needed to do. So that's that. And I will holler at y'all. As always, man, get out of your feelings and into your business. I'll talk to you soon.
Want free business and marketing tips from Dave? Text Business Bully to 31996. That's Business Bully to 31996. Standard data and text message rates apply.